Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and look at an image and see what its size is. And you can see right here, I got this one selected. It's 2916 by 4374. Let's go ahead and create one. 2916, 4374. Now let's go ahead and drag drop the image. Now let's go ahead and rotate the UV 3 times in order so that the texture is actually facing up correctly. Now let's go ahead and perform the first 2 cuts. These are pretty important. You want it to be matching pretty closely. Okay. There we go. Let's go ahead and delete those. Now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and create the loop slices across those 2 edges, any number you want. So I'll set it to that, and now what I'll do is I'll give these border edges more precision. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and cut through these and have it match the lines. And what I like about doing this stuff in Modo is that you have, the whatever amount of precision you want. You can have it be really sloppy, or you can have it be very, very precise. It's entirely up to you how precise it must be. Okay, let's do it for the bottom now. Oops. Okay. So I've done quite a bit of image, perspective removal in other apps. Went and bought these plugins for Photoshop and found that the arcs that you could create with them were just so inaccurate that you could never actually truly remove the perspective from the photos. You'd still have tons of lines. So now let's go ahead and delete the top and bottom. Okay. So now what you want to do is you want to look at wherever areas aren't quite precise enough. So as you can see right there, that's not quite precise enough. So we'll go ahead and select that, move it, and I'll say right there. Select that vert, move it. Okay, same for the bottom. That looks pretty decent. So now what I do is I go ahead and I cut along some important edges. So I'll cut right there. Ooh. And if you didn't know, if you hold on a control button when you're moving the slider, you get more precise of a cut. Whereas this one, it's really loose, so loose that it's hard to get it precisely aligned, as you can see. So, okay, so let's go ahead and do the top. Because, again, you can put in, the controls exactly where you want them. Like, for all this area, I could, care less if it's perfectly straight or not. All I care about are the significant lines you're going to see. So let's straighten only those. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and see over here we got a bit of an overlap. So let's correct all that. Set you there. That up there. Okay, let's look at the other lines, see if they're straight. See right here we got a bit of a warping. Maybe move those down a little bit. And again, what's nice is you can use any tools in Modo you want. So if you want to skew things, you totally can. Whereas in those other programs, you're limited to just whatever tool they have in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure that the cut right here is precise. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and double check that one. Looks pretty good. Alright, so I say we're done with that. Now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and take all these lines and straighten them out. So what I'll do is I'll select a row, then I will, I just did 4 things. So I selected a row, then selected the loop, then turn on my custom action center, then turn on the stretch tool. And my action center is set the center to local, axis to auto, and then you can go ahead and smash those all to 0. Do the same thing here. So now we've got the barrel perfectly straightened out, and you can also look through here and see find whatever areas there might be, and straighten those out. Usually, what you see when you see, like, if you look, there's a little bit of a wiggly line with this highlight, and you'll find that if you go ahead and cut across there, usually that will get rid of the wiggly line. And the reason why you're seeing a wiggly line is because the texture is warping across this triangle from here to here. And you're going to get a little bit of a apparent wiggle in that. What I do is I first just cut that line just to make sure it's actually going to go away or not. If it does go away, then that means it was because of the texture warping. If it doesn't go away, that means I need to, well, just go ahead and select it and just give it that quick nudge, or whatever. So now what I do, once I've got it all straightened out, is I'll just go ahead and subdivide it a couple times, just so that, actually first I'll undo that. What I'll do is I will load up my shader tree. This is it. I prefer having it all one giant UI because I can't stand switching tabs or whatever. And what you want to do, what I do is I run a script of mine, and it looks at the bounding box of the geometry in the scene and aligns the camera to it. So as you can see, the camera's perfectly aligned to that. And also, remember when I first created this plane, I set the resolution to precisely match the photo. Now keep in mind that after I did these cuts, that size is going to be smaller. Well, what the script also does is it looks at the bounds of that and sets that to the render property size. So you see now here, that's how big the image is after we cut off those extraneous parts. So there we go. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and subdivide it a couple times. Oops. And the reason why I do that is because, again, you're going to get warping in between the different polygons, and what this does is it narrows the warping. Now what I'll go ahead and do is just change this to diffuse coefficient and get rid of the alpha because I don't need that. Then go ahead and select the material and set the diffuse amount to 100%, so that way the image is coming out full bright. And then go ahead and turn off anti-aliasing. It's just something I like because I like keeping the pixels perfectly crisp. Then I'll go ahead and render the view. And you can even turn anti-aliasing off for really low, and it still looks pretty high quality. But anyways, this is what I do to get a perfectly straight line out of curved photos. This is something you cannot do in other apps. And the fact that, again, with Modo, you can add the precision wherever you want it, and you can tweak it with whatever tools you want, using skew or whatever. And it's just really, really easy. Anyways, I'll talk to you later.